good for 17th? We are live. So we're live on Instagram right now. We're live on the Anik Bros YouTube channel. Boston Anik is with me. First name is actually Jason. It's good to see you. Your hair's looking good. Your beard's looking good. You just look good.
Well, I'm glad I can hear you. The first 5 seconds, I couldn't hear you. I got a lot of questions for you before we get to some of the Ask Me Anythings. Appreciate you all being with us. First question, does your shirt say loser?
Yeah, I went to the Tame Impala concert in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania on Wednesday night with my daughter, and this happens to be my favorite song by Tame Impala, and I'm a little bit of a fucking loser. So
I'm thinking about that song by back in the day.
Yeah.
I'm a loser, baby. So why don't
actually be better? Thanks to everybody for joining us live on Instagram, where the comments are just rifling in. I mean, I don't even know where to begin. Can we oil up on Instagram Live? I'm not sure if we're going to do that. I'm sure I look pretty oily off the golf course today. But we're going to try to get to as many of your questions and comments as possible. We're going to try to make this a weekly thing. We're actually going to be back in advance of the Abu Dhabi show. We can tell you right now on July 23rd. But Jay, the questions are rifling in both on IG, and you're going to send them my way. Are you not?
No, I will send them your way. So the first one out of the gate, at Hangry Dana. We appreciate this. One of the first questions. I seen Jon Anik on the golf course today. Hold on. Yeah, these are firing in. I seen Jon Anik on the golf course earlier today, but I had to do a double take because he was dressed up like a scoop of mint chocolate chip ice cream. What were we wearing today, Chost?
So it's actually funny. My agent Gideon Cohen and I both showed up in a striped teal shirt and navy shorts and looked borderline foolish around everybody else that was wearing a more traditional white or gray top. But I'm the guest in this member guest equation, by the way, for the record. Mount Kisco Country Club. Shout out to my great friend G for bringing me along today. But yeah, it was sun-splashed. It was great. The weather was great. The smoke has subsided. If you don't know what's going on with the weather in New York, anybody out there paying attention to what's going on in Canada and Western New York, the air has been pretty smoky the last few days, but we got some clear air for the golf tournament today, Jay.
All right, so I'm going on Instagram Live right now. One question coming in here that I just think's funny. It's the handle's David I Like ZZ to Bears. And John, what is your favorite baked good from the Hack Parass Bakery? And maybe you haven't been there, but you could tell us your favorite baked good, perhaps.
How long are you going to spend reading his handle is the better question. It's a blueberry muffin every day of the week. And real quick story for you, if I could. So thankful to that chimer inner, acknowledging that it was the Hackparast family bakery and not the Salkild family bakery. But if you don't know, Quillen Salkild has since gotten an angry baker tattooed on his foot to commemorate the knockout, which is the greatest thing that has ever happened to me in my career. And secondly, when Quillen Salkild showed up for our last fighter meeting, he brought in some of the best lemon cookies you've ever had in your life, baked by his mom, Mrs. Salkild. Although she does not own a bakery, she is a fantastic baker.
All right, so moving right along here. So my question for you is, how'd you play today, first of all?
Well, I don't think people care about that. I actually striped it really well. I putted the ball really well, and I think it's because I drank before the round. I usually don't have the swing lube until a few holes in, and I had a full drink before I went out there, and I think it helped the cause. I got Max Holloway's tournament coming up. Very grateful for that. Coming up on Monday, we're going to Hawaii. It is the inaugural Max Holloway Foundation golf tournament, and thankful to have some momentum going in there because objectively, I'm a shit golfer, right? I'm a 30 handicap, so I'm getting a lot of strokes out there today. We finished in the top 5. It was a good day.
Another one on IG. Over the years, what's one misconception fans have about UFC commentary?
Well, we're all perpetually misunderstood. And I don't mind if you read the handle and shout these people out unless it's fucking a million characters.
Well, that's MJS 2246. How about that?
So I think a lot of public figures feel misunderstood. I think anyone who watches the Anik and Florian podcast and ingests, my energy and my flair in that medium understands more acutely who I am than maybe the UFC audience. But I was just talking to people today about the nature of our broadcast. And, I told my son, once you turn 8, no more complaining, right? For boys, right? It's different for girls. But when you turn 8, no more complaining. But our events are 8 hours, right? And so there's a different stamina and mental agility component to calling a UFC event that's 8 hours versus maybe a basketball game, So I think that's something that people don't quite understand how much flow there is and how much I'm talking to the truck and traffic and how much really goes into it that has nothing to do with fighting, at least for me. So I think that's something that people don't understand. Next question coming in from Marvy now Manza 1542.
And John,
yeah.
I just want to interrupt you. Anyone asking questions on IG, we'd love to have you hop over to the Anik Brothers YouTube channel. Fire your questions over there. We can get them live on screen that way. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's a great point. They're coming in fast and furious. No, you did not miss me on the Joe Rogan Experience. I did not go on there. Appreciate the love from Arkansas. At some point, hopefully for a fight companion or something. Excited to get to Austin, Texas at some point.
This is actually a great question. I got to stop here from Bigly Cheese. Would you let Bilal Muhammad's barber give you hair enhancements?
No. The only reason I have a little bit of hair tonight, and for the record, I'm not going bald. You see my monozygotic identical twin brother with his hair right there. The only reason this isn't shaved for you folks today, I like to look good for you folks with a shaved head. The only reason not shaved today is because I knew I was going to be on the golf course, and we need the hair to protect the head from the sun. Therein lies the rub.
I know we got great comments coming in on IG.
Yeah.
Will the UFC ever come back to Cleveland?
No idea, right? All I can tell you guys is that for the numbered events, right, there's only about 4 that United States cities are competing for, right? And this year, Philadelphia's getting one, Salt Lake City's getting one, Newark got one, right? But when you think about Madison Square Garden in November, and you think about the Las Vegas events at T-Mobile Arena, and then you think about some of the internationals, there's only 13 numbered events. So what is Cleveland, Ohio's relative appetite for a fight night versus a numbered event? I don't know the answer to that. I can tell you that Salt Lake City, when they had back-to-back-to-back pay-per-views, as it was, they wanted the numbered events. They didn't necessarily want the fight night. So hopefully we'll be back to Cleveland, Ohio. It's a great fight town and a great fight crowd, and certainly it's been a while. But no inside information other than the fact that there's just such a hot appetite for these events in the U.S., especially the numbered events where we set these gate records every time, the UFC shows up. So,
yeah.
There's a lot of questions about Arman Tsarukyan. I don't know when he's fighting. I think he's going to be fighting for the undisputed lightweight championship, but I have no other inside information on that. But I think we all are expectant that he's undeniable as a number 1 contender, and now that Conor McGregor lost to Max Holloway, I don't see anybody else that could fight Gaethje next.
Good luck with that next one from Dixon Sider. Glad I don't have to answer it.
I'm just realizing about his handle. I mean, you see what he's getting you to do? His name is not Dixon Sider, right? I mean, this is what they do to Michael Bisping, right?
I've been saying Dixon Sider's name forever. I just say it.
And now you understand what he's trying to get to anyway. We love the McDonald's hat. We don't like that handle. Get your mind out of the gutter, whatever your name is, not Dixon. Dear John, do you and Jason consider yourselves the MMA version of Click Clack? The Tappet Brothers, did y'all grow up listening to them on the radio as kids? No. And I don't even know if the Click and Clack reference is not lost on me either. Jay, do you understand any of that pop culturally?
No, that's what I figured. But I want to just say something, and I say to handle Dixon Sider, you just got to look past it. But I think it's Benoit Saint-Denis under the McDonald's cap there. He does switch that up, so he keeps.
Yeah, well, he needs a new handle if he ever wants to be populated on my lower third. I have a potty mouth. I'm not much for like potty humor, right? I remember once when our podcast producer Cody created a graphic of a fighter with testicles and a wheelbarrow, and I was like, no, not on our page, not for me. Will you do any more commentary for Fight Night? Sorry, Jay, you're supposed to be reading the fucking questions. Yes. Wheels up, Belgrade, Serbia. I will be there for D-Rod and Udos Medic. And all right.
Thoughts on a rumored fight between Oliveira and Diego Lopez?
Long been rumored that Diego Lopez was going to move up to 155 pounds. He has stepped up promotionally so many times. That's why he has been given so many opportunities. But if Diego Lopez is next for the BMF belt, right, if Charles Oliveira is defending that against Diego Lopez, I think a lot of fighters are going to cry foul, because Diego Lopez has competed at UFC 300. He competed at Sphere. He competed at the White House. He fought Alexander Volkanovski before Movsar Evloev and then got a second crack against him before Movsar got his shot. So I love Diego Lopez as human being, as fighter. He's bulletproof matchmaking. He's must-see TV. But if he's getting that opportunity to fight for the BMF belt, I think there's a lot of guys at 45 and 55 that aren't going to be too happy.
Were you yelling on the golf course a little bit today as we populate our next question from @KingIHP? How does Jon calm himself after a crazy and adrenaline-filled event?
It's hard. I mean, eating food that's bad for me, but it's hard to come down, especially because sometimes I'm drinking tea or coffee or American black tea, aka Coca-Cola Classic, right up until the main event. So
Shout out
it's hard to come down.
Johnson.
It's hard to come down, to be sure, but that's the high, right? Those 13 numbered events, they just hit different. You know, there are Super Bowls, and shout out to UFC Freedom 250, of course, the sickest fucking thing I've ever seen in my life as well. But yeah, I mean, after those numbered events, there's no sleeping. Like after Freedom 250, I drove through the night 5 hours home to Connecticut and was just wired.
From Drish 012, in your opinion, where's the best place you've traveled for UFC?
It's a really hard question, right? I mean, Australia comes to mind, but it's just so far. So if I'm really a man of veracity, I can't necessarily say Australia is number one. Brazil has just such a place in my heart that when the United States gets eliminated from the World Cup, I root for Brazil. The loud crowds in Canada and England. I'm an American. I don't even know, Jay. I don't even know. I would say the most special crowd outside of the U.S. that I have experienced was somewhere in Brazil during the year of Vitor Belfort in 2013.
I thought you were going to say Australia. You've talked about wanting to go back to Sydney. Good question here. DP Crazy. Does Max stay at welterweight?
He's got a lot of options. I think probably 55, but I'm going to see him in a few days. I'll have more answers on the Anik and Florian podcast next week. But yeah, I mean, I think he could fight at 70. I think he could fight at 55. I think the book's closed at featherweight, which isn't necessarily going out on a limb. He would probably challenge me on that if he were to fight for the undisputed title. But I'd like to see him try to track towards the undisputed lightweight championship, and I think it's well within his reach.
Such an appropriate shirt for you. Appreciate y'all being with us. This is a great one from MBLY87. My daughter has her first cage fight smoker tomorrow night. Can't you get a shout out from the fucking GOAT? Let's fucking go, Madison Rose Bly. I'll let you take that one.
Come on, Madison Rose Bly. What do you got? Let's go. Just stay within yourself. Manage your emotions. Deep breathing is a very powerful thing, but very excited to have you in combat sports, and I hope to be calling your fight one day.
Would love to see Aspinall versus Gon 2 at MSG.
Thank you at Walnut MMA, as would I. Yeah, Dixon Sider, we need a moderator. You need to change your handle, my man. Because I want to be able to address you, but I don't want to have to say that every time I fucking address you.
Oh, Daniel Gray, 1874. Can I intern with you? You're the best in the business. Hey, maybe a different type of opportunity.
Yeah, we got to figure out an email address for people, but we have some big things planned for later this year. Maybe you've heard about the Jon Anik Broadcasting Seminar. I'll leave it at that. Jabs. Jon Anik Broadcasting Seminar. Jabs.
Hey, Anix, this is from Bon Thamed. Sorry, doing the best. Hey, Anix, how do you rate first to third your experience on Sphere, White House, and UFC 300 cards?
So Jay wasn't at UFC Freedom 250. I would say number one is quite obvious. Number two is Sphere, and number three is UFC 300. It's interesting, though, because Sphere and UFC 300, it's hard for me to compare those. The Sphere was just a spectacle, but it was a fight card that was curated for Mexico for all time. It was a championship doubleheader, but just imagine if the UFC were to go back to Sphere, and I say this with all love, but weren't handcuffed by a specific nation, and the matchmaking process was wide open. Could you imagine the type of card you could do at Sphere? So, but yeah, UFC Freedom 250 was the greatest personal or professional live event experience of my life.
Appreciate y'all being with us live. And those that are with us on YouTube, sort of a little soft launch here with the Anik Brothers YouTube channel. Going to be bringing you a little bit of NFL content, a lot of MMA content, hopefully some behind the scenes content as well. Jon, I do want to ask you, I know the wrestling, Real American Freestyle tomorrow night. You get Bilal Muhammad versus Ben Askren and then Colby Covington, Arman Sarukyan. I know you're a busy man, but I mean, it's tough for me to just sort of like dabble in all these different promotions, grab the Fox Nation subscription. I mean, are you just looking for highlights on that? Or are you checking out all those former and current UFC fighters competing?
It just depends on my schedule, and it's childcare intensive tomorrow. So I will not be watching that live event. I'll be looking for highlights, and I'll be particularly tuned in or looking for headlines because of who's competing this weekend. Good question here. What happens in middleweight if Kamaru Usman wins and loses? So if Kamaru wins, there's no guarantees in the fight business. We've heard a lot of fighters say, Hunter Campbell guaranteed me this, or there's nothing guaranteed. But if Kamaru Usman beats the former champion, then he opens himself up to waiting again. I mean, he waited after the Joaquin Buckley fight, right? Hoped the Islam Makhachev fight would materialize. It didn't in a year. And now he's competing at 85, where he has a win over the champion, Sean Strickland, back in the day. So there's some history there. He certainly has the history, obviously, with Khamzat Chimaev. But Nassourdini Mavov is, I think, the wrinkle in the plan. If Usman loses to Dricus du Plessis, I still think for du Plessis, it's a Brendan Allen fight, unfortunately for him. I don't know that he's going to get a championship opportunity, especially given the Strickland history. But, yeah, it's going to be interesting. Kenny Florian, I think, picked Kamaru Usman on the podcast. Rogan, DC, and I were going back and forth, just marveling at just how good Dricus looks. One thing I'll say, you give a hard worker like Dricus what amounts to a year off, and this would apply to both these guys, right? But Dricus off a loss, year off, figures to be a real problem this weekend.
Big man. Did we address this one yet? Does Paris deserve a numbered card? I wanted this one up here from Tommy Rivera.
Yeah, it's a good question, Tommy Rivera. So, yes, Paris deserves a numbered card, but you don't get what you deserve in life, right? You get what you negotiate. So I think that selfishly, I would love for there to be a numbered event there so I could go experience what looks to be an all-time great, UFC crowd. Paris, shout out to Liverpool as well, where I've never been. But yeah, I just don't.
Cito Gon mentioned it, and Aspinall was hip to it. You just don't think that happens?
That's music to my ears that Aspinall was hip to it, because I thought it was great that Cito Gon called for that title fight to happen in France. Why not? And it's above my pay grade in terms of the inner workings as to whether or not a fight night could become a numbered event. There is precedent for that happening, but I don't know what the pay-per-view slate, so to speak, looks like in the month of September as yet.
What else? We got Mike Jones. Appreciate our guy Mike Jones in the back. Callan Campbell, 9319. John, where's a city you think would be a great numbered event that you haven't worked at?
Well, Seattle. I don't know that we've done a numbered event in Seattle, but we have done Fox UFC Fight Night. So Seattle comes to mind. I think Tampa, Florida would be good. I also think that I'd love to see another show in Dallas, like a big show in Dallas, but we've certainly been there. Let's see, where else? A numbered event. It's been a while since we've done a numbered event in Philly, and it's a great sports town. And the last time we were there was 2019, and it was a fight night, Justin Gaethje and Edson Barboza. So it's nice that Philly's getting a numbered event.
Yeah, I'm just pretty disappointed that we can't get Joe Pyfer, or Sean Brady, one of those like big Philly contenders on that card coming up in about a month.
Yeah.
Lazy bed. John, what are your thoughts on Chase Hooper's unfortunate weight miss? Tough break for a good egg in need of a win. Good question.
Not great, right? 157.5 for a former featherweight.
He's a big kid.
He's a big man coming into his own physically, right? It is harder. I mean, we just talked to Robert Whitaker about this. Shout out to Bob, by the way. I thought your body fat percentage looked just fine. But no, I mean, Robert Whitaker, even in his last days at middleweight, was just having a hard time, right? Like, just you retain more weight. He was, walking as high as like 231 pounds, cutting down to 185. I think I did the kilo math a little bit inaccurately there, but pretty close. So, but yeah, not a good look for Chase, but he's a hard worker, good human being. I don't know what's behind it. I'd imagine maybe just a misstep with the weight cut, but unfortunate to see that. I just saw that before we logged on here. Thank you, by the way.
Go ahead.
No, just thanks to everybody who is joining us live on Instagram. Technologically speaking, I'm not great, so it seems as though we did figure that out. But thanks to everybody who's live on Instagram. Appreciate the fuck out of your support. And of course, we are here on YouTube as well. On the
And John, I just want to let you know,
yeah.
questions are rolling in, so go as long or as short as you like. You know, maybe
Well,
5, 10
at least
more
go
minutes
till
here.
the top of the hour. I mean, keep these questions. We'll try to go rapid fire.
Mubarak 44.95. I like this one. Your favorite sport outside MMA?
To watch American football, to play golf, although we've been playing some soccer in the backyard that's getting pretty intense these days. So I'll say I really do like playing soccer. I'm maybe thinking if I could avoid injury, I would like to play in an indoor men's soccer league for men over 47.
Ha! You're 48 now, kid.
But golf, there's nothing better than golf.
You no love to basketball there. I like this question from DP Crazy. John, what's your favorite fact you didn't get to use for the Max versus Connor fight? I know he's searching for his notes, right? It's an open book.
Yeah,
test.
I mean, I didn't get to any of them, right?
Yeah, right?
Well, I think Holloway's strength and conditioning commitment with Darren Yap, I think, right? Like we didn't even get into any of that. And sometimes I pass the baton quickly on the walkouts, right? Because that's just the flow of it. I never plan what I'm going to say. And sometimes maybe I'll catch a smile on Rogan and I'll be like, how about the fact that Max Holloway has the most minutes in title fights in UFC history? That was actually my favorite nugget, right? That Max Holloway, going into that fight, had fought more in title fights in terms of minutes and hours than any man or woman in UFC history. He was coming up on 9 hours of championship fight time in the UFC.
A lot of good questions coming in here. Appreciate y'all being with us. Icy Grapes. When is the Kayla? Sorry to put you on the spot here, John. This is on me, but when is the Kayla Amanda Nunes fight going to happen?
You were the one who chose this question, Jay?
I triggered this one. You know, I talked to American Top Team coach Mike Brown. You know, he was pretty tight-lipped, but Kayla's certainly getting there. Go ahead.
As if I have a modicum of a clue. I do appreciate the thoughtfulness, though, and I appreciate everybody chiming in on the comments as well. All of those are questions as well, but we do want them to enter the questions in a different way. So I don't know when it's going to happen. I think the limited stuff that we can see from Kayla Harrison online is encouraging, but I would imagine if you're the UFC and you're Kayla, you would want to have as much time as possible to get out the other side of a neck surgery, even though she appears to be in fine fettle. So I would say Madison Square Garden would be my best guess, but it is not even informed speculation. It's purely a guess.
DD Dabs, who is your favorite fighter of all time and why?
So I love you people, but when you ask me sort of what's your favorite fight, I would have to say, ask me the year, and then I can tell you the fight. And then favorite fighter.
See, I wouldn't have triggered favorite fight for you because I know, but
right,
obviously I know you prefer the Mount Rushmore, but it's not like we're holding you to.
No, I don't prefer the Mount fucking Rushmore. This guy putting words in my mouth. So I'm just kidding. People are going to be like, wow, you're a dick.
No, I just, when I stare back at that t-shirt after you say something, it's just like, oh, yeah.
No, I'm sure.
Loser.
I go pick up my son. He's like,
but anyway, I mean, who's your favorite of all time and why? Maybe go a little nostalgic with a few of your boys just getting put in the Hall of Fame.
Kenny Florian is probably the guy who is my favorite fighter. I'm the president of his fan club. Dominic Cruz, of course, is my dearest friend in mixed martial arts. I've spent the most time with him socially. But, you know, I mean, who's immortalized behind me? John Bones Jones.
Yeah.
And yet DC is one of my favorite fighters as well. I think DC is maybe the most underrated, underappreciated guy of the all-time greats. He's top 6 all time, and I don't think people quite realize that.
Official Archie Cooper, what advice would you give someone who wants to build a career in MMA but does not necessarily want to become a fighter?
Well, you got to love mixed martial arts. You got to love the UFC. And then I think you just got to figure out what your path might be and chase your talents and not your dreams, right? There's so many different things that one could do for the UFC. You could work for the blue shirts, be in operations. You could get on a security path and eventually work for the UFC. Public relations is a department as well. There's so many different things that you could do.
I should be building the octagon.
HR, fucking build the octagon. You could be an octagon girl if you don't mind taking your clothes off. But if you want to be a broadcaster of any kind, shout out to the Jon Anik broadcasting potentially coming in your face later this year. But it's not the time to figure out whether you want to be a host or a play-by-play guy necessarily. You want to try to get as many repetitions as possible talking. And that involves starting some sort of show in whatever medium it is, radio, television, on YouTube, and just churning out episodes and trying to get as ready as humanly possible for whatever opportunity might present itself. Because I can assure you, there were plenty of times where I had a microphone on live radio and I wasn't ready, or I didn't think I was ready, and the opportunity came, and thankfully I was ready enough.
You've upset your boy here. This guy's a loyal fan, man. You trying to kick him?
No, I understand he can't change his handle at this point in time, so we'll just call him DX or Dix.
Well, I'm looking forward to seeing what the handle changes to. What is the hardest knockout or injury you've had to commentate without letting your emotions take over?
Chris Weidman's broken leg. I said the wrong leg. That was just so jarring in the midst of a global pandemic and seeing his leg like that. And that one was worse a fracture, I believe, than McGregor's. So, yeah, certainly there have been some, bloody fights. There was a Ramiz Brahimaj situation, I think, with Max Payne Griffin that was actually pretty cool and gnarly. But no, I can't think of anything worse than the Weidman leg snap. The Pantoja thing was really unfortunate, but I just am such a big fan of his as a human being that was maybe more an emotional thing. So, good question. Oh, knockout. He also asked knockout. So, Alistair Overeem was on the wrong end of a couple. Francis Ngannou and Curtis Blades that were just both
Bryce Mitchell on the canvas for Josh Emmett. Is that the one that I'm remembering?
Yes.
Bryce
lived. Bryce lived.
Right.
Like, that's what's crazy. He lived.
Dude.
Like, he survived.
How did you end up doing the Yanez post-fight interview?
Oh,
you should do it more
let's
often.
go. Call my number. So Rogan was doing the sidecast, right? Committing adultery on live television, cheating on his broadcast partners, Jon Anik and Daniel Cormier. So while Joe was cheating on us with the sidecast, we had a super quick fight. And I was suited and booted, jacket on, so they gave me the call. They gave me the shot. So, yeah, very thankful. Whenever I get the opportunity to do that. As many of you know, I did that for, I think, my first 7 or 8 years with the company.
Not your first rodeo. Good thing you had those Xenia, those nice, fresh new kicks for that post-fight interview, huh? Did you? Oh, no, you didn't. Those were for the Hall of Fame. Sorry, you were wearing your brown shoes. But either way, you had some rubber on the bottom there. All right. Strange details. Who has a shinier head, you or DC?
Well, DC's actually going bald. I shaved mine by choice, so his head is shinier. Thanks for the.
And he was sweating more at the White House, I think, a little bit.
So somebody's asking me in the StreamYard comments what my favorite thing to gamble on is, and that I strike them as a poker man. So I have more success betting sports in Vegas than I do table games, and that's why I try to exercise some discipline. But I do like roulette, and I like blackjack. I love being a local and playing some slots. But I try to learn craps and try to play craps with my friends and sort of ride their coattails, but I'm not very good at that. And poker, been in a couple tournaments. I think I'm 1-in-1 lifetime. Spain or Argentina?
99. You think Connor comes back after his, you can do Spain. Yeah, Spain or Argentina. We'll get there. You think Connor comes back after his latest injury? You addressed it on the podcast. Go ahead.
I do, but perhaps I'm just an eternal optimist whose opinion you shouldn't solicit. But I think he will come back. I just think this was part unlucky and maybe part a byproduct of not being completely locked in mind, body, and spirit to the martial arts cause for the last several years. But yes, I think he'll be back in fine fettle and he'll fight one more time. Now, who he's going to fight, your guess is as good as mine.
Pray for Tony Winter, John and Jason coming to hang out and do the podcast at Raymond Pete's gym. I don't even train MMA, but I want to be there for the meet and greet. John, a lot of empty promises on your appearances there.
Yeah, I mean, Longo and I are thick as thieves. He doesn't live far from here. But, I mean, now Pray for Tony actually has incentivized me to go. But, I mean, we'll see.
All right, a couple more before we get out of here. Spain or Argentina? That is the question. Are you soliciting advice, John? Any action on the game so far?
At this point, if you were to walk up to a window and bet against Argentina, just given the way they have rallied and shown a flair for the dramatic, I would say best of luck to you. But, we always like to say to save a hamster's life, who you picking? I think Spain wins the World Cup. So I'm going Spain, however chalky.
All right. What else we got? Mike Jones. John, I always buy floor tickets. How do we buy tickets to be cage side from Combat Pilgrim?
I think a lot of people would suggest to you that those are one and the same. Floor and cage side.
No, they're not. There's a lot of seats on the floor in the section.
Yeah. Those are VIP sections. I don't know that there's a way to. Yeah, I don't know that there's a way to. I understand what you're saying now. I'm curious how those floor seats are, but the cage side seats, I believe, mostly are reserved for VIPs. I don't know that those are for sale, but I really don't know. Dixon keeps saying JASOB, Jon Anik School of Broadcasting, and it's like, we got our name, buddy, but thank you. Jabs, baby, jabs. I would love to go to Dagestan. Great question. I would love the opportunity to go. If Islam's listening, I can't go for 2 to 3 years with my son and forget it, but I would love to go.
DDP to 205 if he loses? Question mark.
Shout out Scotty Wash. We appreciate you chiming in the StreamYard chat. I believe that is. No, I don't think so. I think DDP has a lot of options. Let's not forget this man, maybe future UFC Hall of Famer. I mean, Strickland's a first ballot Hall of Famer now. DDP, how many times did he successfully defend the title? 2, right? He was making his 3rd title defense when he lost to Khamzat Chimaev. So he would have a lot of options across 2 different divisions, but I think 85 is best for him. I didn't see him on the scale today, but yeah, it's a thoughtful question, but I think you'll still see DDP at 85 unless he feels like there's a real quick path to 205. But with a loss, that would not be the case. Yeah, I hope to go to Dagestan. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, let's go. Wheels up.
So one question I just when I met there, so Serbia, is that where you're going?
Yes.
Soon? First time going there?
For the UFC and for myself, yes.
All right. So Serbia and then Philadelphia 2 weeks later. Right? All
yeah.
Right. Good. Well, we appreciate
all
y'all being with us.
Go. All you can handle, bro.
And Miami, we got a lot going on. You're going to see a lot of that shaved head around town. But appreciate y'all being with us. Don't be afraid to subscribe to that Anik Bros YouTube channel. John, you got anything else before we move on?
So Barry the 6,000th is asking about me getting genuinely mad at that snap, crackle, pop sound. Can you explain real fast? I think maybe there was a time he's referencing where I was caught on a hot mic or whatever. There's a lot of stuff sometimes that could happen in our ears. Sometimes we get blasted out. I don't know exactly, but wanted to at least address that on the way out. But no, I do want to thank everybody for being here for this Ask Me Anything. Ooh. And we're going to be trying to do these. You going to interrupt me here? Or you give me a minute?
Yep, I am. Jesus. Zach Driedger. John, would you rather fight Kenny Florian in MMA for $250,000?
Uh-huh.
Or bare knuckle box me for free?
I would fight Kenny for $250,000. I'm fighting Kenny Florian now, 50 years old, Kenny Florian, right?
Fair, and he won't have any weapons.
I'd like to bare knuckle you through the screen right now, but I'm not gonna. We get a better offer from Karate Combat than $0, right? If bare knuckle's offering us 0, but if bare knuckle boxing wants to actually offer us, David Feldman out there, if bare knuckle boxing wanted to offer you and me something, if they were interested in that type of sideshow, then we could talk. But at least right now, as these offers are presented, I love the question. I would rather fight Ken Flo for $250,000.
Yeah, sideshow, little side hustle, like that side cast. We belong in that fight circus. That's where we belong, you and me.
Kenny would say to me, I'm not even going to rear naked choke you. I'm going to knock you the fuck out for taking this fight for $250,000. You think I'm just going to take you down and unceremoniously get your body locked and choke you out? No, I'm going to box up your face. So thanks to everybody. Thanks to everybody for being here. If you are on the Anik Brothers YouTube channel, thank you in advance for subscribing to that. Thanks to everybody for being here on Instagram. We'll continue to do these, I think, live on IG leading up to the fight nights that I'm not working, and we'll do them on location, of course. Ask me anything during the numbered events as well. And yeah, next one's coming your way on Nomar Garciaparra's birthday, I believe, July 23rd, right? I'll be in Los Angeles. Can't tell you why, but I'll be in LA, and we will be talking to you about UFC Fight Night, Ankalaev versus Guskov, your new look main event for July 25th. What else you got, Jay?
I got nothing. Appreciate y'all being with us tonight. If you're watching the Anik and Florian podcast Monday, I'll be filling in for this motherfucker, so we'll see how that goes.
First time filling in. But yeah, everybody check out the Anik and Florian podcast. I will be on the show from Hawaii, making a little cameo in advance of Max Holloway's golf tournament. But it seems like I play a lot of golf, right? I went a full calendar year recently without playing, but we're trying to get back into it and have a little bit better work-life balance. So there you go.
Oh, the cliche to boot. Appreciate y'all.